Welcome back to another episode of the Daily O. I'm T. Johnson. Let's get into our show. Stillwater PD are currently investigating the death of an OSU student early this morning. They responded to calls from the Phi Kappa Tau fraternity house where a 20-year-old student was found dead from self-inflicted gunshot. A spokesperson for OSU said, quote, "The university is deeply saddened to learn of a student death last night in one of our fraternities last night. We have counselors available at the University Counseling Center for our students as they work to process this loss, and our thoughts and prayers are with the student's family and friends." End quote. You can also reach the National Suicide Hotline at 800-273-8255. OSU has plenty of resources to help students succeed after they graduate. One of the many resources is OSU Career Services. Mackenzie Coker has more.
OSU's Spears School of Business prides itself on its ability to prepare students for the world outside of the classroom. Business students are equipped with a variety of resources to help them meet their education and career goals. When finance senior Chandler Price was looking for an internship last spring, he used the resources OSU Career Services offers to help him land a job.
I got up there and I told them my situation, and they quickly had a room set up for me to use one of their computers and some of their equipment that ended up really helping me.
OSU Career Services has resources to help students get prepared for their job search with things like practice interviews, resume workshops, salary predictions, and more.
We have every week we put out a newsletter. They can actually interact with our career consultants that are giving those programs and be able to ask questions.
Chandler used the interview rooms at Career Services to get the internship, which eventually led to a full-time job offer with PepsiCo.
So after my report out, it took about 2 or 3 weeks for PepsiCo to reach back out to me and inform me that I got a return offer as a supply chain associate.
Now, Career Services has gone 100% virtual and offer their resources 24 hours a day online.
We've always had a virtual presence. In other words, we've always been a 24/7, 365 office.
If you're looking to get a degree in finance, by using the resources OSU offers, you won't just survive the major, you'll thrive in it. For the Daily O, I'm Mackenzie Coker.
Thanks, Mackenzie. You can check your OSU email for more career resources every week. Next, Daily O reporter Brody Myers tells us about a local woman who suffered a brain injury. Here's more.
No good deed goes unpunished. When Alicia Murray was 16 years old, she gave 2 young girls a ride home from school, and after dropping them off, she got on an old gravel highway.
Then I was hit at 60 miles an hour.
Murray sustained a left-right traumatic brain injury. According to the CDC, in 2014 alone, the U.S. had approximately 288,000 TBI hospitalizations, with 56,800 deaths.
Doesn't really affect me a lot, and I've been told I'm I can say this, I'm a weirdo, and be proud of it, because there's not really a lot like me from what I understand.
Before the accident, she spent 13 years in dance, band, choir, color guard, and a number of other school activities. And just 5 months after the accident, she was back to school as usual, with no special education classes needed. When Murray moved to Stillwater with her husband, she forged a relationship with members of the OSU wrestling and women's basketball teams. She suffers from partial paralysis and has trouble walking, but from the help of her friends in athletics, she walked her first Remember the 10 5K in 2015 and has done a number of them since. Through it all, she has called for political action, and her advocacy has made its way back to the state capitol through Representative Trish Ranson.
In the 2018 campaign cycle, I befriended a person who is a traumatic brain injury survivor. And through our relationship and getting to know each other, came with it a bill idea to help the community of traumatic brain injured individuals, and found out that we don't really have much options for them in Oklahoma. For treatment, they are sent to other states. And it's mainly a funding issue because we don't recognize traumatic brain injury as a set injury.
Ranson's first bill was vetoed by the governor, but she and Senator Rader plan to continue the fight at the next legislative session. Murray says Oklahoma hasn't done nearly enough, but she doesn't want much credit.
I'm touched, but I'm just doing what needs to be done.
And my sister is a student at the junior high where Alicia frequently subs. She says that Alicia keeps up with the students on Instagram and sometimes even makes TikToks for them. In Stillwater, for the Daily O, I'm Brody Myers.
Thanks, Brody. Now, we continue to highlight different majors that OSU offers. Daily O reporter Kristen Trujillo tells us what it's like to major in mechanical engineering tech.
For students who are looking to major in engineering, Oklahoma State University offers 15 different engineering majors to choose from. When students are looking to specialize in mechanical design, mechanical power, and manufacturing, the Mechanical Engineering Technology program here at OSU is the
So on my first tour of OSU was on junior day, and I was touring all the engineering programs because I knew I wanted to be an engineer. And I stumbled upon mechanical engineering technology. And when the person was talking to me about it, he described a lot of things that were similar to my situation and what I like to do and how I like to have more hands-on. How I used to play with Legos as a kid, how I like to take stuff apart and figure out why it works the way it does. And he kind of explained it to me and spent the day with me and got me interested in it.
For Matthew Hartshorn, the Mechanical Engineering Technology program has been something that he has always kept in mind when he was looking for the perfect college to attend. Even though an engineering degree requires a lot of work and long nights of studying, the payoff of being in the field you enjoy makes all of those nights worth it.
It's all worth it in the end because the amount of hands-on experience that you get.
Although a degree in mechanical engineering may require a lot of work, OSU is ready to help its students every step of the way by providing resources like the Endeavor Building to help them succeed.
We emphasize the hands-on experience and then real-world applications. All of our faculty members have several years of industry experience so that we can teach our students with a bunch of hands-on labs and then real-world applications.
And when the students start to feel stressed out or overwhelmed with the workload that comes with being an engineering student, the MET department is ready to help with on-campus resources that are provided to aid students throughout their time here.
Our engineering college have a center which is called the LASSO. The students are welcome to go to the center for the help, especially for their homework, for the majority of the courses.
Engineering may seem like an intimidating path when choosing a major, but with all of the help and resources Oklahoma State provides, students know they chose the right path for what they love to do.
Thank you, Kristen. Next, we'll take a quick break, and when we come back, Josh Weisel has the weather. For the Daily O, I'm T. Johnson.
Hi everybody, my name is Emily Shooping. I'm your marketing coordinator for the Made in Oklahoma Coalition. I'm coming to you with an amazing opportunity. We are teaming up with the Ocali Media Group at Oklahoma State University. We want to tell your story on the following platforms: streaming, newspaper, and digital. This opportunity will not only allow your story to be told locally, but nationally as well. I am so excited for each of you to join in on this tremendous opportunity. This will not only be good for your business, but it will be good for our great state of Oklahoma. You can be expecting an email from me soon with more details about this opportunity. Local has a name, local has a face, local has a flavor. The Made in Oklahoma Coalition.
All right, welcome back. I'm Joshua Weisel here in the Ocala Weather Center. Taking a quick look at some weather headlines coming up for this afternoon and for this week, starting with, obviously, as usual, this evening and tonight's forecast. It's been slightly cooler today. We had a cold front move in earlier in the night last night, and as you can see, temperatures today have been in the 70s, so not quite as warm as it was the other day, but we will see temperatures dip into the 50s later this evening. Mostly clear skies, leading for a beautiful evening across Stillwater. Now, another weather headline, is the allergy index. So I've seen a lot of people kind of sniffly from allergies and just wondering what's up. So here's a look at that allergy index once again for the area. So trees, fortunately, are at a 0. However, grass pollen, so 1 out of 5. So it's slightly there in the atmosphere. But we're going to see weed as mostly the predominant pollutant in the atmosphere. We're looking at ragweed of about a 4 out of 5 across the area. So if you're sensitive to allergens like ragweed, it is still a little bit rough out there, so just keep that in mind. Moving on to tomorrow afternoon, here's a bad hair day forecasted for tomorrow. And the reason for that is, like today, we're going to see some gusty winds once again. Winds out of the south around 10 to 20, and we're going to see some highs of around 81 across the Stillwater and Oklahoma City area. Hotter conditions than what we saw today, and this will continue as we head into Wednesday afternoon with another bad hair day, except the winds Wednesday afternoon are going to be even higher, almost 30 miles an hour, and that's ahead of a cold front, and I'll get to that in just a second. But Wednesday afternoon and evening, we're looking at highs in the upper 80s, even 90s across the western portions of the state. Mostly clear conditions, but humidity will pick up as we get into the afternoon on Wednesday, so it will be not only hot, but it will be humid with winds of around, like I said, 15 to almost 30 miles an hour. So just keep that in mind for the next 2 days. All right, so there we go. For the 7-day forecast, here's that big cool down that I mentioned. As you can see, on Wednesday, once again, those 15 to 30 mile an hour wind gusts. After that, we're going to see highs of around 64 on Thursday. And look at that. First time we're going to see 30s on the 7-day forecast so far this fall. So a big taste of fall coming up. A low of 38, keep that in mind. So not quite freezing, but it will be really cold as we go into late Thursday into early Friday. And then again, those winds will continue to be in about the 30s range through about Thursday before calming down on Friday. Let me step out of the way real quick so you can see the entire forecast I have in store. Once again, hot conditions will return on Wednesday before that cold front brings some much cooler air across the area. Highs will return in the 60s and 70s by late week. So after we have this cold front and that activity in the middle of the week, it will be a beautiful weekend ahead if you have any outdoor plans or anything planned like that for the weekend. Stick around for sports coming up right after this.
Oh, there you go. Superstar.
The end of the practice is when we do all of our, intensity drills.
Okay.
She was going at it.
Stop. If we get them to Detroit by, let's say Monday the 15th. Right there. There we go. Yeah. Just, you can't.
Don't want to talk about it.
When you see the water tower, you're going to make a right.
If we win this, we have one way to get to the playoffs. I know.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Daily O. I'm Karsten Melton, and let's get into sports here after a jam-packed weekend. The biggest news coming as the Los Angeles Lakers win their 17th championship in franchise history, tying the Boston Celtics for the most all-time. It is LeBron's 4th ring, and he is now just one of the few players to have won a ring on 3 different teams. One of those being teammate Danny Green. LeBron was named the Finals MVP for the 4th time in his career. LeBron led a blowout of the Heat in Game 6 last night, posting a triple-double and getting strong contributions all around. LeBron is now closing in on Michael Jordan, who has won 6 titles and 6 Finals MVPs. This title caps off what was a crazy season for the NBA, with the season being postponed, then returning with the bubble. Consider the bubble bursted now that players will finally leave and head on home after months away from family and friends. One stat the NBA will proudly boast about the bubble: 0 cases of COVID-19. The MLB playoffs are winding down, with the final 4 teams battling for a spot in the World Series. The Houston Astros and Tampa Bay Rays are playing Game 2 of the American League Championship Series right now, with the Rays already up 1 after winning Game 1. Currently, the Rays lead 3-1 heading into the 7th. The National League Championship Series will kick off tonight as the Atlanta Braves take on the Los Angeles Dodgers. Moving on to some unfortunate news for some Dallas Cowboy fans here in Stillwater, as star quarterback Dak Prescott suffered a devastating injury in yesterday's game against the New York Giants. Prescott was scrambling out of the pocket and was brought down awkwardly, leaving him with a compound fracture and dislocation of his right ankle. The Cowboys managed to win thanks to backup QB Andy Dalton coming in and helping guide Dallas to a 37-34 win. But the team's focus was on their franchise quarterback, who will undoubtedly miss the remainder of the season. Let's hope for a speedy recovery for him and to see him back out there soon. The OSU versus Baylor game has been postponed after more cases of COVID-19 have sprung up in the Bears program. This caused the entire program to stop football operations temporarily. The game will now be played on December 12th. The now 7th-ranked Oklahoma State Cowboys were ready to put their strong defense up against the Bears in Waco. Levi Peckinpah showcased one of the best defenses OSU has had in years.
The culture for Oklahoma State is redefining itself this season. OSU's defense is going from one of the most irrelevant defense in the Big 12's past to one of the top defenses in the nation. In his 3rd year, defensive coordinator Jim Knowles is making a defense that is in the top 10 of various defensive categories. OSU joins national powerhouses like Georgia, Notre Dame, and Clemson at the top of these defensive lists. With the help from 10 returning defensive starters, Coach Knowles is making a scheme that the players are buying into.
We got everybody that can basically play anything. Like we got people that can rush, people that can blitz, people that can cover. It's just perfect defense kind of, and we're just trying to stick to like the game plans and stick to what Coach Knowles does and because he has a good scheme, and as long as we do the scheme, we can win a lot of games.
The commitment from the defense could pay off for the Cowboys in the long run.
You know, they've come together as a group. You know, they continue to work hard. They've got some depth. They run around pretty good. Our schemes seem to be working. We can stay the course. It'll give us a chance to win a few more games.
The Oklahoma State defense is carrying the load for the Cowboys, but the offense is trying to figure things out along their way through the Big 12. The offense for OSU is in a confusing state. The run game is seeing its ups and downs, with Chuba Hubbard having a difficult time finding last year's rhythm. Freshman Shane Illingworth is starting at QB for an injured Spencer Sanders. With Sanders out, no one knows the true potential of what this OSU offense is capable of. With several offensive linemen leaving the team before the season starts, the current line is having to learn on the fly how to block in Coach Gundy's offense. Even without their signature OSU high-powered offense, the defense is playing so well, it's okay if the offense needs some time to figure themselves out. With this bye week, Oklahoma State will have time to fine-tune things on both sides of the ball to protect their undefeated season.
Thanks, Levi. OSU has another bye week to prepare for Iowa State on October 24th. Our college athletes are under more stress now more than ever, thanks to playing during a pandemic. It affects all sports, but maybe none more than those on the football field. Sapphire Cervantes shines some light on the toll the players take off the field.
You see it, the glitz and glamour that comes with being a college athlete, but what you don't see is the mental and physical exhaustion college athletes experience every season. Philip Redwine Bryant is a respected Oklahoma State football alumnus, and he said that even the toughest player can be taken down by the pressure of being a college athlete.
You're only worried about what's around you, so your team, your coaches, you're only worried about them. You're not worried about anybody else. So whatever you see on Twitter, it's like, all right, whatever. Like, they don't even know because they don't even play. Like, whatever, cool. But I think what really hits home is like what you said was like the injuries. The injuries are really what starts to hit home because you have time to think. You're not playing something. You're not doing something. You're really sitting out and watch your team go as you want to be in there as much as possible, but you can't because physically you are not there. And I think also the big thing about that is, so physically, we can all see what injury it is, right? Trainers make you sit out because you can see this injury physically and say, okay, maybe you shouldn't do anything. But deep down inside, nobody sees the mental side of it. So maybe you are depressed, you're anxious and whatnot, and then you don't know what's going on with your own body. And you go up to somebody and say, hey, I know you can't see it, but I just can't do this right now. And nobody's going to believe you. And that's the toughest part about this whole thing is because you can't see it.
During Philip's last fall camp, he got a phone call that turned him numb.
And they said, you might want to come home, this and that, like just for a little while. And I was like, why, what's up? And so my brother was holding his funeral because he shot himself and committed suicide in the backyard. And at first, I think because I had everything going on, I was just like, I wasn't really like thinking on it too much. I was just like, I'm just gonna keep going through my emotions and whatnot. But then it hit a point where we had like a little break and I just started really thinking about things and it was just tough and it was just eating me up month by month. And then I finally went to a sports psychologist.
2 years ago, Oklahoma State Athletics got their very own sports psychologist, Dr. Trevor Richardson, whose program gives athletes the holistic care they were missing.
And having someone in-house allows for a different level of care than having to refer off campus and things like that, because with their consent, we have confidentiality that covers all the services that I provide. But when the student athlete consents to me, for me to consult with, say, a coach or an athletic trainer, things like that, then I can provide a more holistic level of care because we have a treatment team approach rather than just going off campus and going to an individual.
OSU sports psychologist helped Philip work through his emotions when he needed it most, and he hopes future college athletes aren't afraid to reach out when help is needed. For the Daily O, I'm Sapphire Cervantes.
Thanks, Sapphire. I think we all need to sometimes take a step back and realize that our heroes on the field are just regular people that deal with tough problems too, and that no one should be ashamed to reach out and get the help that they need. Thanks for tuning in to our show today. Make sure you're following The Daily O on all social media at TheDailyO_TV. You can also watch our show on Roku, Amazon Fire Stick, Apple TV, and on Suddenlink Channel 112. For The Daily O, I'm Karsten Melton.
What a show!
Hi, I'm Will Joyce, the Mayor of Stillwater. As Mayor, it's my responsibility to help develop plans for a variety of resident needs, including roads, emergency services, and utilities. Some of those services are paid for with federal money that the government distributes to states and communities based on Census Bureau data. This is your tax money coming back to our community, but if you or your household aren't counted, we lose nearly $1,200 per person to places like Texas, Kansas, and Arkansas. So help bring that money back to local communities by filling out the 2020 census. This year, it's easy to do. You will receive a postcard in March 2020 with a unique code for your address. Using that code, simply go online, call, or request a paper copy of the census and fill it out. I want to make sure that you and your whole household are counted in the 2020 census. It's important not just to Stillwater, but to all of Payne County.